You ever watch something and you're just like, dang, this sucks. But I can't stop watching it. I think it's a common feeling we all feel when we watch a movie, TV show. You play a game, you read something, you know, you watch your favorite team suck every Sunday for the past 5 years, and you just cry because Cam Newton is no longer the savior. Yeah, we all feel this way. We all have things that we enjoy, whether it's watching it, playing it, reading it, however we consume the media, that we're just like, this is terrible. I hate this, but I can't put it down. You know, it's described as the factor of so bad it's good, but what what really makes that right? Like, what really is the factor that turns something that is not either objectively or subjectively good, but in your brain you can say, you know what, I like it, I enjoy it for a litany of reasons. What is the factor that drives the mid to the subpar to being enjoyable? I think there's really two sort of genres or focused groupings of things that kind of lend themselves to being in the so bad it's good sort of thing. Comedies and action. Those are the two types of media that lend themselves to this. Because comedy is subjective. You know, a comedy movie can have a horrible plot, but if you think it's funny, then it's doing its job, and you can enjoy it. Obviously, there are things that are intentionally comedic, like, you know, The Room is a famous example of something that is just so poorly made that people find it funny and enjoy it on a high level. Um, Particularly, I'm not one of those who finds comedies to be so bad it's good. Not really something that I resonate with. Like, either it's funny or it's not. But I do highly relate to action being enjoyable regardless of the quality. I don't even know if this really fits within It's So Bad It's Good, though. Like, for example, I know going to specifically the anime, you know, people would say Black Clover, Fairy Tail. Those types of shonen shows are bad. They just are, but they find the action and adventure and some of the comedic elements of it enjoyable enough where you enjoy it. Sort of feeling that guilty pleasure sort of thing, rather than being it's so bad it's good. Another example is Transformers, the 2008 film. That film is not good, but darn if I don't enjoy the explosions and the action and watching giant robots punch each other over and over again and blow each other up, and all the American pride and the hoorah and oh yeah! Like, it's just so much fun and enjoyable to watch that you know, you kind of look past the fact that the narrative's not great and the characters all kind of just are nothing, and Shia LaBeouf is not great, but hey, the movie's fun, and I came here to watch giant robots punch each other, and there's giant robots punching each other and blowing up, and that's all I really need from the film, so I can look past its deficiencies because it fulfills the things I want in it. But when it comes to things like media, like film and TV being so bad it's good, what really drives that? Like, what is the thing about those specific pieces of media that make you kind of resonate with them in a way that either wasn't intended or is in spite of the quality concerns of that piece of media? And I really just think it comes down to action working in a way because that we just get appealed by it in the most common denominator fashion, right? The most common denominator fashion. Where, like, everybody loves robots fighting and explosions and cool action and guns, and like, that's certainly a major factor to why a lot of action films, despite how poorly written they may be or the characters just suck, the plot's awful, the setting's not inspiring, nothing that truly happens is anything special, but the action is so fun that you look past and you're like, yeah, I had a great time, you know? Look at any, you know, any of the Die Hard films after the first one. They're all terrible. Every single one of them is not good, but there's enough good action in it that to satisfy you for the most part. Same with the Transformers films. They are all worse than the first one. In the story department, in the character department, nothing makes any sense. The characters suck, but there's giant robots punching each other and blowing up. So like, it will still feed that beastly base instinct in us. So like, oh yeah, fire, explosions, death, love it. Same thing with like any sort of action show or movie. It fills that base desire to see things just blow up or to see people fight. Like, we love that. And when something like John Wick comes along that does that at such a high level and then puts in a little bit of work in the story that it's enjoyable and the characters are likable, it just takes it to that next level where John Wick goes from this would have been a one-off film with a kind of uninspired actor on the edge of his career to now he's become a household name again and completely revitalized his standing. Like, it just takes the little bit extra for an action film to go from being very forgettable and just kind of like, oh, that was nice, like it wasn't very good but I had a good time, to being something that can launch someone to the stratosphere. Think of Arnold or Keanu. And video games do this too. A lot of the COD games suck. Oh, a lot of them suck. Everything after Black Ops 2, bad. Not a good game. It's still fun being special ops or a soldier fighting your way through the battlegrounds of a world war or a global conflict, or doing stealth missions to take out targets that threaten the America. Like, even if those games are not as good as the ones that came before, they still have massive gameplay elements that make you feel like, yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Like, I still enjoy playing a lot of the story modes of the COD games, even if I hate the multiplayer. And the zombie mode is not nearly as good as it used to be. Like, they're still fun to play at a certain base level. And I think it just comes down to these games approach us at our most base self. They focus in on the things that everyone enjoys, that every gamer or film viewer enjoys, and that's the violence. We all love our base sense of violence, so that's why they do these things. And if they are able to build upon those and make great gameplay systems or a great story or likable characters, or this little extra oomph, the cinematography is extravagant, or the soundtrack is just bussin'. Like, if any of these things are able to just do even that little bit of extra to kind of just drive their product just a single tier up, then it immediately goes from something forgettable that you may enjoy in your little niche little sense, so you may play it a little bit for a laugh or watch it a little bit to get you some nice enjoyment, to going up a level into this recognizable property that can spawn off so much more. But then we bring that back to, well, if something can be bad and still be enjoyable, can something not be bad and not be enjoyable? And I think that truly is the worst thing anything can be. It is not good to be bad, but if people can find enjoyment in what you made, it's better than being something that is not poorly made, but no one resonates with. It is bad. The death sentence for anything is to be okay and boring. Because even boring films that have, high production value or are well written or have great acting, even if the story itself it does not grip you, if the characters just based on how they interact in the story does not grip you, if there's not enough action or there's not enough comedy, there's not enough of the drama that pulls you in, if it's still well made, then people will resonate and will talk about it. They're like, look at this great shot from this film that just bored you to death. Like, there's still objective quality that will make it resonate with someone, because someone will take from this like, oh my god, I love the cinematography in this film. It really brings out the creative juices of like, what other kind of shots and things can I create? Oh, I love how they wrote these characters. Like, maybe I can find a way to make these characters fit in a better way, so that way they can resonate more and they can make a better product. But when your film is all boring, but is also not good or bad, then no one cares. Like, no one remembers the meh films. The films that just kind of make you feel, because there's nothing to resonate about. Terrible films and movies stick with you because you're like, oh my god, I never want to see this again. Because you're like, it creates a negative reaction in your brain. You're like, ugh, this is going to stick with you. It's like eating a food you don't like, and it makes you throw up. You immediately have a internal brain response being like, ugh, bad memory here. Let's not do this. But if it's something meh, you may just entirely forget about that you even interacted with it at any level. I'm sure everyone's got a video game they play. They're like, this is just the most mediocre thing I've ever played. and then just forgot about it. Put it on the shelf or deleted it from your console, and now it's in your collection of 300 different games. Just another, and once you scroll by, you're like, how did I even get this? Did I buy this? Or a TV show, you watch it once on your rotation, you find, this is not for me. It's just kind of and then you don't tune in again, and then you tune in 5 years later, it's still on TV, and you're like, this is still on the air, right? You see a rerun, you're like, this was really a thing. I didn't just dream this up one day, and now I'm remembering it. Like, that is the worst thing you can do. And I think that is really what happened to Wild Noah Zero. Now, I know you may be thinking, where did that come from? Like, what kind of tangent did we just go on? But yes, dear listener, that was a setup to bring you back to Wild Noah Zero. Now, some of you may not know what that is. And by golly, congratulations. You hit the lottery back in the day. To those of you who were around at the time, Wild Noah Zero was supposed to be the it thing in Mecha. It was supposed to be the savior. It was supposed to bring life back into the genre and be something that we all could be like, damn, it's back and I love it. We have reached peak. We have gone back. It had so many big names working on it. It had everything going for it. It looked sick. And then it came here, and it was just kind of The first episode delivered on some promise, and then everything after that was bleh. Was just kind of Was kind of it's not all bad. Like, it was such a disappointment. Wild Noah Zero did the cardinal sin of being mediocre at everything. The characters, the main character is bad, but everyone else is kind of just The animation, The story, Characters, Again, characters, Everything was just, And that's what I think enrages me more than anything. Because if you were to watch Wild Noah Zero today, it would be category meh. It would be the thing we just talked about. It would be the most thing you've watched. But as someone who enjoys Mecha and was hyped and really thought that Wild Noah Zero was going to be the thing that brought this genre back into hype because it had everyone working on it, and maybe someone other than Gundam can create Mecha and we would be joyous and have great times enjoying this two-core show. And then it drops the ball. And it drops the ball in such a way where it's not that these people were incompetent or were bad at their job or just did not feel inspired or did not want to work on this property. They just, for whatever reason, did not deliver on anything. They delivered a show, and it was fine. But that's all it was. Fine. Some would say, on a 10-point scale, with 10 being outstanding and 0 being garbage, it's a 5. It's the middle. It's mediocre. It's meh. It's good enough to not be bad, but not bad enough to keep it, and bad enough to keep it from being good. That's all it really was. It was meh. It was fine. It was okay. It was nothing special. When it needed to either be absolutely special or absolutely horrific. And it was not either. And that's the thing that I took away from Wild Noah Zero. And really from not just anime, but anything in general. Any kind of media. And it wasn't just this. It has been several things from many video games just kind of being just not what I needed them to be. To movies and other TV shows in the West that are just like, I just don't feel inspired by it in any way. To make me be very apprehensive when I go into viewing something. To not let the hype overtake me. Because hype will take you places that you don't expect to be. It'll have you pre-ordering something, and then when it finally gets here, you're like, oh my god, this was not even worth my time, my interest, or anything. I wasted my money on this. But not because it's terrible. Because it's just kind of not good enough. And that's what Wild Noah Zero, and a lot of things are, is just not quite good enough. It's not bad. They worked hard. They made something. They made a product that, while I don't think it's good, is not something to feel ashamed about. It's just not something that most people will ever remember. I remember it because of the hype and the feelings and the excitement I was going for. I was excited. I was ready for it. I could feel the dopamine in my veins as I prepared myself to watch it. And then it came, and I just kind of, felt nothing. Kind of just felt like I waited all this time for this. And I'm so disappointed. Because it could have been something that I wanted and everyone wanted. But in the end, it's not what anyone wanted. Not at all. And like I said, it's not the first thing to do this. Valrave was an example beforehand of a cool idea that just was just absolute poo-poo. Same thing with, I'll say it. I'll say it. Nisekoi, same tier. Same tier of cool idea, I guess. Just kind of never really went anywhere. Oh, that last season of DxD Hero, just kind of, it's not bad. The girls don't look terrible, but they're not the same attractive girls I watched, just a few years beforehand. Just kind of, remember Ryan Nikki? Just kind of, all these shows are just kind of, just kind of blah, blase, just not good enough for me to really want to care about them, and I don't. I only mentioned them today because I wanted to make a point, but they are what they are, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who are gonna be like, "How? What? This is awesome. Mariah Nikki's so cool. Is literally the yandere girlfriend I want. Congratulations, brother. Get some help." But no. I really like the way Al Noah Zero looks. Great for you, brother. But no. I like Angel Beats' story. You're wrong. But good for you. I like the vampire concept from Valrave. I do too. They didn't execute it well. I could point out dozens of examples of, and for media of all kinds, that just kind of don't approach anywhere near what we want them to do. They just kind of show up, and they're just like, "Hey, here it is," and you're like, "Oh, this is just kind of." I mean, it's like getting a Hershey bar from your grandma. You're like, "Thanks, grandma," but you're kind of thinking like, I mean, it's not a bad chocolate bar to get. Hershey is fine. It's a little too sweet, but like, it's not a bad chocolate bar. But I could have done with something different, like a Mr. Good bar. Or if you like coconut and you're wrong, you're like, maybe I could have had like, an Almond Joy. Or, maybe I wanted a Snickers or a Twix. Something just a little more special and different than just a plain old chocolate bar. Maybe I want a Reese's. Maybe I want Reese's Pieces. Sorry, Reese's Pieces for the mentally ill among us. But no, you got Hershey's. And you'll be fine with Hershey's. But it's not memorable. You won't remember that chocolate bar. You won't remember how good it was because it was just kind of, it was good enough, but like, it's not anything you are going to remember and enjoy. And that's kind of my point, is don't let the hype get you excited for something that's going to be mediocre and is going to destroy your hype for future things. Simply be even keel when you go into something, and you won't be disappointed. But you still might not remember what you were going on about.